Thank you, Lord.
All right, man. Album's been out.
Yes, sir.
Couple weeks.
Yes, sir.
How you feeling?
It's refreshing, man. It's refreshing. I've been told the music has had impact on people that I haven't really got that type of response before. I always say, like, I've been praised for sonically good music, but I haven't been told that my music has helped people before. I haven't been told music has hit somebody's spirit so hard. So it's a fresh feeling.
So was that ever something that you wanted prior?
I would say, like, I always said I want to be the greatest or whatever the case may be. And I guess under that would be having timeless music, having music that can transcend through generations, having music that really touches people. But it's a day-by-day process to attaining that, I guess. It's trial and error, living and learning. And so I can't say I always wanted that. But now, I feel like I see the difference in like, even for me, you feel me, as the maker of music, I feel more fulfilled by making that type of music.
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about this album then and that transition from what your music used to be like. Talked about going from sonically to, I don't want to use the word lyrical and call you like J. Cole and all that, you know what I'm saying? But just more so just like music that you feel like has more meaning and impact. So talk to me about this album, right? Because the title is Nobody's Coming to Save You. That's not a regular album title, right?
Correct.
That clearly indicates that this is like equivalent to a season, right? Like when you say Nobody's Coming to Save You, like where does that album meaning come from and what season of life were you in that led to this album and what made you feel like it was necessary now?
For lack of a better term, I'd say like a pre-midlife crisis, that turning point.
Pre? How do you have a pre-mid?
Oh, well, because I feel like people
It
always
ain't
say
mid. That's an early life crisis.
Okay, yeah. I feel like people always say midlife crisis 25. I ain't that age yet.
Okay.
So what I more so mean is that I feel like there's a certain age where if you're taking life not too seriously, you kind of eventually realize like nobody playing with you out here. Like you better get this shit together, honestly. And you know, just so much more as a young black man in America. You know, I don't really dive too much into the statistic, or it's not built for you to succeed. But at the end of the day, bro, we all got to work hard to figure it out.
Odds and everything, you feel me? So.
Facts. So the reality of it is like I realized if I didn't get my shit together, excuse my language, nobody was gonna help me get it together. Not a daddy, not a mommy, not Ose. You know, so that's what I realized this past year.
So let's talk about getting your life together, right? Before that becomes something that you express in the music, right? Mm-hmm. That process of like losing yourself, finding yourself. Do you feel like in the past when making music that you were making music from a place where you were lost? Or did you become lost in the season post the music?
So could you restate that? Did you say, did I feel like I was lost before or?
In the past when you've made music, right?
Uh-huh.
Would you say that in your career you were making music while you were lost, or is this a recent season that hit? And the reason why I ask that is because I want to understand whether chasing the music career and doing the things in that space contributed to you losing yourself.
You know, I always say music is like it's beautiful, but it's scary, right? And why I say that is because it's super subjective. I always say NBA is objective. Whether you like me or not, if I drop 40, I drop 40. If I win a championship, I win a championship. And as much as I want to make music because my heart likes it, this is what fulfills my soul, and I don't care about what anybody else thinks. If I plan on doing this as a career, I kind of need other people's opinions, right? So I'm not trying to lose myself in the water of, well, I'm doing this so Ose likes it, I'm doing this so she likes it or he likes it. But at the end of the day, for it to be lucrative for me, kind of need them to like it, right? So that led to me chasing, I'm gonna make music that I think sounds good, but is this what the people want to hear? That leaves me gravitating towards sounds where I feel like, you know, they're a trend right now, or if I feel like this type of beat is going up.
For example?
DMV music.
What is our music called?
Free car music. Wow.
So free car music sells.
Yeah. Depends on who you ask. For some people, right? And I feel like it just matters where your mind is at, right? Because I might have grown out of that phase, but I seen the Flowers high school basketball team, and all of them look like, man, free cop music is in. You get what I'm saying? So it's just wherever your soul is at, wherever your mind is at. But to answer your question, because I didn't answer it, I felt like I was trying to gain the people's approval, making music, and little by little, I felt like that led to me kind of losing myself.
So I want to dive into this approval thing, right? And opinions. You know, me and you talk about a lot about people's opinions and what it does from like the basis of your career, music, the financial component to it, like the business side, right? Because you can be as creative as you want, you can get all these compliments, people can love the album, but it's like, are the numbers where I want it to be at, or the videos, or the streams? All those things are important. But then tying back to what you just said in terms of what's praised in our area in terms of culture and like the type of music. From a success standpoint, do you feel like you were clouded at all from do you feel like your judgment or your mindset was clouded at all based off of your surroundings for what you viewed as success for yourself? Because from what you're saying now, you're saying that you had the same thought before of knowing that you can have this music or this music is within your bag, but you were choosing to do what you thought sold. But what you thought sold was only a thing for this area. It's not a global thing. So I just want to know, like, what has that transition been now? If you knew before already that you had this type of music in your bag the whole time.
Yeah, I always say like I feel like I'm a melting pot of genres just because I'm Nigerian.
Melting pot. This guy's stylish, bro.
I'm Nigerian. PG County, you'll grow up around a lot of black people. Shit, on my soccer team, I was the only black person, right? So I grew up around like a lot of Caucasian friends. I sound like I sound like those racist people, right? When I say,
what your football team look like?
Oh yeah, you know what? Southeast DC, but and I just felt like I'm just a big is conglomerate a word? Well, I know that's a word. Does that make sense? No, I don't think that's the word.
Yeah, let's just
leave that, right. But I just feel like I'm just everything. So I feel like if I want to go hip hop. If I want to sing. I played the piano since I was like 10, right? So I haven't been just the hip hop guy. You feel me? I like different types of music. You feel me? When I get in the car, it's weeks I don't play hip hop, right? But again, it just ties back to that approval thing and wanting to be liked so bad, and doing anything to be liked. Knowing who I am deep down, but maybe feeling like that might not be accepted. So trying to do everything but that.
It's interesting because everything you just listed, I feel like can be a struggle at an early age. But the older you get, you start to reap the benefits of it, right?
Correct.
Because we grazed over it, but what people don't realize and what you just said is like, okay, your football team, you played on your football team, y'all was in Southeast, right? You was in Southeast DC. Cool. Your soccer team, you're in what city?
Crofton.
Crofton, Maryland. With what demographic?
All Caucasians.
Exactly, right? Exactly. And like very rich people, different community.
Yeah.
Whole team is rich. Like you're two different vibes, right? You bouncing around that. Same thing in the school systems. You bouncing around like your palette evolved over time from being around these different sets of people.
Exactly.
But I think what that does to somebody who's young and trying to figure it out is it can confuse you and give you imposter syndrome because it's like every room you're going in, you start questioning whether you fit in because you've never been in one room consistently. But at the end of the day, those experiences, when they compound over time, you now get to a point where it now becomes of value.
Yeah.
That's why now it's like when you get into a lyrical standpoint, the stuff that you pull out your bag within this album or you start speaking on, it's like, wow, like, not to say that you're intellect by any means by saying certain things, but it's like, why do you happen to know this? Or why do you know this? Or like, why are you sampling this song?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, if I was around these folks that I play soccer with, this is what I was listening to.
Exactly.
But if I was over here, this is what I was doing. So it's like, it can be a struggle at first, but I do think that those things indirectly are a blessing. And I even think about it for like my future kids in terms of experience. Like, no matter where I get to financially or what my circumstances are,
you know where they gotta go.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I know what half the rules gotta be. Like, I think one of the best things about growing up in PG County is like the demographics mix up so much. Now it can be risky because it's like you can have a child with everything they need and they'll still choose the worst route possible. But it's like on the other side, it's like you can have somebody grow up in a great environment but still build character because of who they're surrounded by. So it's like if my kids grow up in like a great home, finances are good. They have all these opportunities, all this exposure. It's like, I don't know. I think I might want you to go play football in the hood. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
Exactly.
I need you to have character. You feel me? But it's like that balance now can build you to becoming the person you are and having this ability to be around different people, but in a music standpoint, make you this creative to be able to hit these different genres.
Yeah, what I was gonna say was like it's almost like when they, or for me, I've always said sometimes I'm too Nigerian for the blacks, and I'm too black for the Nigerians. You know, when I go back to Nigeria, you know they Omoyanki.
What does Omoyanki mean?
It means American boy, honestly. So yeah, and I feel that, and I feel like that's where the grace of God comes into play, because like you said, you can do everything right as a man. Everything right business-wise, everything right family-wise. Put your kids in a nice area and all hell could break loose, you know? So I think it's just the grace of God that allowed me to grow up in such an area that can teach you a lot. And those who are from PG County know that PG it's a beautiful area culturally, but it's like, boy, it's that, you could either go
50-50.
Or you could go here. And unfortunately, a lot of the times we've seen the people we grow up with go there.
When he says 50-50, he really means like 50-50. Like, it's actually no joke. You know, like when you go to high school, it's like you can have a high school with an elite program for talented people and all this crazy thing school system, but it's like this will be a siloed piece now of your high school. And then now it's like, let's say you send your son here, right? And he's inside this program. You were in science and tech?
I went to Roosevelt.
So we both were in science and technology programs, right? Obviously, we're both not in STEM today, clearly. But I say that to say, right, our direct proximity, though, was like we were in science and tech, but that's not who we molded well with. That's not the community that we choose to hang around for the most part.
Exactly.
It's like our friends that weren't in that program now, it's at the same school, it's just this happens to be in a completely different walk of life. And it's like when you have that proximity, you see kids have that opportunity to swing both ways. So it's really a risk. And like, I want to talk about you real quick, right? Because at the album release party, right, somebody asked a question about like your different personalities and like the evolution, right, of you. And it went into a deep conversation surrounded around like essentially this like growing up and feeling obligated to, I don't want to say like formulate a street lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
But more so formulate some additional struggle and like basically approach life like you have to move this way or you have to operate this way instead of fully being yourself. And it forces us to kind of like have this image now of like being half hood, but then it's like you still want to have some level of professionalism, you still want to do these things, but it's like you're not obligated to be this way, but you feel like you had to. Talk to me about that.
As much as I would love to, I probably can't place all the blame on the area we grew up in, because I'm sure it's like this all around America and all around anywhere, really. But society just tends to give younger children a mindset that, and again, unfortunately, younger black children a mindset that if you're participating in something violent, you're cooler. If you're a gangster, you're cool. And if you're hard, you're cool. And navigating that has always been like hard, because when you were raised correctly, all glory to God. When you just know better, right? Sometimes that could get taken for being
you don't got to say the word, but
we get it, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, how do I show I'm not a, And I feel like,
how do you not take it too far, though?
That, too. You feel me? Because, again, that's where a lot of people lose themselves. But as I got older, I just had to, I can't even say I came to the realization, but just through time, it's just like, you don't got to be gangster to be to be player, man.
You can really be a thorough dude and not going for nothing. You don't got to be an ounce of street in you. There's no correlation between street and you tough. There's no correlation between being tough and street. Like, that's not, they're not synonymous, bro.
Facts.
But we act like they are.
Yeah.
So it's like, but to your point, I actually disagree when you say that society makes it think this way. I still think it's area-based because I grew up in an area where, like, that's what it is. Like, naturally we all, like, and not saying we all, but, like, to an extent, struggle is, like, praised, like, and formulated. So it's like, even me, I have to cast myself, like, if I'm talking about my life story, I'm explaining something, I'm like, okay, like, this did happen, it was a struggle, but I'm like, I know I made it through. It can't be that bad. Like I'm here, bro. Like and I had the grace of God. You feel me? So it's like I gotta catch myself and make sure that like I clarify. Like bro, I had good parents, bro.
Yeah.
Like I had good parents. That don't mean I ain't have life struggles or had to hustle the way I did. But it's like I still had solid parents. I had foundation and I had God. Like I wasn't that lost, bro. Like
Facts.
you feel me? But on the flip side, when I got to college, right, it was much different. Because going to Howard, I got around like black people that thought about it completely different from me.
Correct.
They looked at me like I was the most outrageous guy ever in terms of like movements. Not and where we come from, you know, I'm looked at like I'm golden, like I'm doing right.
Look
like,
at you like the golden child.
I'm going. Ocean's going to college. Like you feel me? So it looks like I'm doing like
exactly.
I'm being stand up around the way I get to college. It's like he's kind of iffy type of thing, right?
You are.
But that's you know how we dress, how we look. So you come in that environment, bro. It's like
correct.
It's like, you look like a YN, bro. But he had to grow out of that. But
not even to cut you off, but it's just like so crazy that I felt like I had to defend myself that my parents worked hard to give me a better life. And it's just like the audacity.
Both my parents live in the same house.
I'm less of a man, man.
I'm not Braun, bro.
I'm just goofy, man.
Like,
and it's almost like not almost. It is backwards. And I guess if there are any younger viewers watching this, like, bro, you're not less because you grew up in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Because your parents tried to give you a better life. You feel me? Because ultimately, like, right, when you think about your own life, I'm sure all of you want to be successful in whatever area it is. And you want to put your kids in a better neighborhood. And just like, how crazy would it be for you to work as hard as you plan to work and give your kids a better life, and you're successful in doing so, and for your kids to be trying to be gangster?
Yeah, and go the opposite direction. Like, and to the point I was making, it's like when I met black people at college that came from different walks of life, I realized like what we think is cool where I grew up at is not what they care about. Two different sets of priorities. And being around those folks in that environment, it challenged me to normalize what was successful and what was cool in this space versus what I was programmed to think where I grew up at.
Yeah.
And I had to break it. Like, I'm like, no, I actually seen real money. I seen what real money looks like.
Facts.
See what success looks like. I'm like, what we think is most of the down there, bro. It's like, nah, like, bro, they're not. None of them is trying to act. They were literally, they're rich and they know it, bro.
Yeah.
I'm rich and I know it. I'm grateful.
That's beautiful.
And I still hustle.
It's beautiful.
I don't care. I still got work ethic. You feel me? So it's like, nah. When I got around there, I'm like, this is what I'm trying to be. Like, we gonna normalize like doing well.
Yeah.
Doing well is gonna be the flex.
Yeah.
Struggling is not the flex, bro. We don't want that to be a standard. That's literally how you make a cycle, a generational curse. I feel like we gotta struggle to prove that we made it or we're successful. No, we're not normalizing struggle, bro.
You're a goofball because you didn't struggle.
But I want to tie this back though, right? Because we talked about this whole entire conversation been tied to you, right? Losing yourself, right? Then having to find yourself, right? And the album coming in time with all of that. Like, I want to talk about what did it take to get yourself back to Manny, Emmanuel, the real Manny that you think God called you to be.
It took being stripped down. It took
Pause.
Facts. But like it took every ego death. You know.
Don't say that. There's an actual ego death thing.
Inform me about it. Oh, we're gonna get into that later.
You can go like to Mexico, do like ayahuasca. And have an ego death. That's not the ego death you're talking about.
Right. So a spiritual ego death, if that's you get what I'm trying to say. So I just felt like being YungManny has placed a sense of entitlement in me. You know, it could have been with women. Oh man, they supposed to like me. You feel me? It could have been with. They're supposed to respect. Men are supposed to respect me with a certain level of authority. These people are supposed to. I'm supposed to get you. And all of this is just programming you to like, bro. At the end of the day, bro, you're Emmanuel, bro. It's like you're no better. I put my pants on the same way you do in the morning, one leg than the other. You feel me? So and not that I was excessively just dragging everybody, because you know me a long time. And not that I was excessively dragging on anybody, but I just feel like God showed me a lot early. He showed me what it could be as far as how good it can be. But he also showed me how quick it can be taken if you're not humble and you're not appreciative of the fact that it's not yours. You know, this is a gift that he placed upon me. And so, it just took getting back to square zero. And I almost feel like this is like new career, not even career, like it's a new life in a sense because yeah, I just had to realize like all the YungManny things is cool, but like YungManny don't operate if Emmanuel ain't correct first, you know. So I think that's what it was.
Tell me a little bit more from the faith perspective, like what this connection, seeking God in this time was like.
Um, I've always had I always thought I had a relationship with God.
Clarify.
Yeah. And these are one of those things that there's no oh, I'm done. I got it now. A relationship with God is a
Ever
day by
evolving.
day. You
Yeah.
feel me? Every day you
The walk
seeking
is
more and more.
continuous. You stop
Exactly.
walking, you're not walking with God. You feel me? So
Exactly. But I just started to idolize a lot of things outside of him. And I started to place things above him to where you know, like that scripture said, there was a lot of years that the locust stole from me. And so this has just been about regaining that, regaining clarity, regaining focus on what life is about, what truly being rich is, truly being wealthy is, you know, and the fact that at the end of the day, bro, no matter how I plan for it to go, as long as I'm seeking Christ, I'll be all right, you know. So,
what does that obedience look like for you?
hmm.
You can be honest.
As much as I say it, it's not as easy as it's said. And I think that's the beautiful part about following Christ, because a lot of people make it like seem like once you make that decision to follow Christ, you can't be imperfect anymore. Everything you have to do has to be suit and tie, formal, and you best not ever sin again. And it's hard because one of the things that comes across my mind and comes out of my mouth is, God, let your will be done, right? And what if his will isn't for me to be the most successful artist in the world? Am I okay with that? Right? And I love to sit here and style to you and act like I am, but I slick be beefing, you know? And it's hard, bruh, because it's like, but I also have had to get to a point where it's just like, that can be my ego talking sometimes, bro. You feel me? Because if God gives me another way and makes it for me to, makes a way for me to be successful, my head above water, I'm not sinking, I can take care of mine, I can take care of my family, but it isn't the number one Billboard selling artist in the world, will I be angry with him? And that's a battle that I've had to fight, and I believe I'm getting more on the side that I need to be, but I'd be lying to tell you like it's just all dandy.
And the Bible says that there's God's perfect will and there's God's permissible will. And it's like the question is like, do you want God's perfect will? Or are you gonna take what you can get by doing with because it's what you want,
Hmm.
but it's not his perfect will?
Hmm.
Because permissible will, I feel like, is always gonna feel good,
Hmm.
you know, in real time. But like bigger picture, you can't beat the outcome that God has planned for you.
Hmm.
You know what they say, you make your plans, God gonna laugh at it, you feel me? So are you okay with God's perfect will or his permissible will?
I am okay with his perfect will. I know I want it to be his perfect will. And can I, let me ask, can I want it to be his perfect will but still have human feelings about if it wasn't? Or is that wrong?
I can't tell you if it's right or wrong, but you asking it lets me know it's in your heart regardless. So if it's there, it's there. And I think the best thing that we can do is having those type of conversations with God. Like we can't go to God and be performative and try to structure our prayers in this way and say it this way and all that. Nah, like you gotta really sit there and talk to God and say what it is. Like, I know you may not, I know there's certain things you may not want me to do, but that's exactly what I want to do. Cause it's like the only way you can get past some of this stuff is literally admitting straight to God like what it is. If we want to beat around it in real life and beat around it in our heart when we know it's still there regardless, it's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
But it's like, how much are you willing to really sit with God and craft and figure out like what is this plan that you have for me and how am I gonna execute it without trying to force the way I think it's supposed to go?
Scary, dog. It's just, no, it's not scary. It's it's what I know. It's what my conviction in my heart knows deep down, and I feel like it's the imperfect version of me, just trying to fight it sometimes. You know, but again, I feel like that all ties back to not being perfect and also our human nature and trying to figure everything out, trying to know everything, trying to handle everything. And I feel like I just got to submit it to God. And I feel like little by little, like Philippians says, it's like do not be anxious about
I'll be
anything.
anxious for nothing.
Yeah,
Is that
and take it
Philippians
to
4,
prayer and
7? I
God.
could be wrong. If it's 4-7, I'm tough. I ain't gonna lie.
Somebody fact check us, man. But yeah, man, that's, just trying to take everything to God in prayer and just leave it in his hands. That's where I'm really at with it, I guess.
It was not Philippians 4-7, by the way. Philippians don't even go past 4. I ain't about to find it right now, though. But I do want to talk about this connection between your relationship with God and music, right? Because I know we talk a lot about being talented, but then also still trying to be saved and still like uphold your faith, but balance like your creativity.
Yeah.
But you don't want your creativity to intentionally go against God. It's like a weird middle ground. So talk to me about this gray area that you felt like you've been in, how you're trying to navigate being a man of God, but then also still diving into your creative abilities and making music and things of that nature.
Well, where I want to start off with, with answering this question is like, I guess growing up, Christians who are on social media, whether they be content creators or artists, they always had this like nerdy connotation to them, or they're just viewed as corny or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like nothing about God is corny, right? But I also don't want to be performative, right? So sometimes I wrestle with thoughts, like even when I'm writing my lines, it's like, this isn't gospel. And I know who gave me the gift. So is this like, am I disrespecting you? You feel me? At the end of the day. But I feel like that's what's so unique about God, because he says, come as you are. Whether you grew up in Southeast, whether you grew up in the suburbs or the suburbs, he wants you to come and submit as you are, right? Because I feel like, yes, there are, for lack of a better term, like, perfect looking Christians. And then there's people like me that want to serve God who haven't had the most righteous, straight path, right? And he still is using me. And he wants to use me to help bring other people who feel like they're not good enough to come to Christ to him, right? So with my music, I understand it's not gospel, right? And sometimes, like, I've been attacked, I guess, for not saying something about Christ and not necessarily the right way. Only he can work on me. But I think I know my heart, bruh. Like, and I also
Don't be I know my heart guy though. Don't.
Yeah, okay.
Because you got to be willing to be held accountable.
So when people do correct me, I don't like take it offensively. You feel me? I try to, and every time somebody has said something, we've had a healthy conversation about it, and they understood what I meant by that. And ultimately, I guess what I'm just trying to say is, I want to use my music to bring people through Christ, but I don't want to be performative with it. Right, so however he uses me, however he shapes me, and as the content of my music changes, as I get wiser, as I grow more in him, it will change. But again, I just feel like when you start being performative, that can affect things.
Let's talk about it, because being performative can actually send people further away from Christ than to him. And I think that's a lot of the common case inside of like our community of believers, right? That attach being a believer or being like a Christian to like, whether it's Christian artists, Christian influencer, Christian fitness, like Christian this, like it's, you start attaching Christian to something. Like you said, when you started, right? You said growing up, you felt like there was a connotation around Christians because you felt like a lot of Christians were corny.
Yeah.
Right? And I felt the same way, right? And until you see God for yourself and you understand and like you have this encounter, it's hard for you to ever get it. Like it's hard to ever explain, right?
Yeah.
But you start to realize once that happens, like these people are not my standard or my basis of of my faith. Like Jesus Christ is my standard,
Exactly.
right? And
Man,
Jesus Christ is not corny.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like when you start seeing the corny connotation, you start realizing like, wait, these people were corny.
Exactly.
Not the faith. Like
Exactly.
they were corny.
And if I make a don't you lose your thought, please don't. But it's just like every time I come across somebody that just has a beef with Christ, 99% of the time it's because of humans, right? It's because of mega churches. It's because of pastors who like buying nice things. It's because they're family members who took them to church, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how faulty they are. And everybody will fail you.
Mm-hmm.
You will fail me. My lover will fail me. My parents who brought me to Christ and who are deeply rooted in the church will fail me, right? And so when you base the standard on that, it's like you'll always get a tainted view of Christ.
Yeah, because Christ is the only standard.
Exactly.
Any standard that's not Christ will disappoint you. That's the evolution of life. And to that point, just building on, like, in terms of the way that we view faith and, like, attaching it to what we're doing, I personally believe that the best way to glorify God is to have a relationship with Him,
Mm-hmm.
believe in Him,
Mm-hmm.
and actually be good at the thing that He's called you to do.
Mm.
If you attach Him to what you're doing, and it's like we don't even know if that's what He's called you to do, or you're mid at what you're doing, or to be honest, you suck, that's where it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Because don't become a Christian influencer and try to preach the word of God and do all these things and try to tell people about their lifestyle, then you're a terrible person.
Yeah.
Like, you can't suck. Like, you cannot be a trash person and then trying to adjust lies. Like, not saying that anybody can preach the word of God, right? Like, anybody can get the message across.
Mm-hmm.
But if you start labeling what you're doing as if, like, you're sent from Christ to do this, right, and you now are making yourself a standard or doing this and you're trash, it doesn't work.
You're going to draw a lot of people farther away.
I want to be a Christian art and your music trash. Like, you feel me? Like, it's like, and obviously, like, music is subjective creativity. But my point is, if we keep attaching Christian to everything, and it's like, number one, it's like there's no proof there's no fruit that you're authentically seeking God for yourself and have this relationship. And then two, you're not actually good at what you do. You're low-key tainting it. And it's like stop making my Lord and Savior look bad by trying to add him to what you're doing for sauce. Like we're not doing that, bro. Like, one thing that blows me is like when people try to add Jesus into what they're doing because they feel like it validates it or gives it aura. Like, if you're gonna glorify God, like, authentically do it, because the intention behind doing it means everything. Because if you glorified God to bring attention back to yourself, you've lost the whole plot. The Bible really tells you not to do that, bro. Just like, let's not glorify God to look good a certain way for ourselves. Like, being Christian is not an aesthetic, you know, like, it's not swag. Like, bro, go really find Christ. Like,
Exactly.
you got to. And when it comes to the music space and all that, it's like, I'm not glorifying at all being lukewarm. Like, you don't want to promote being lukewarm. Obviously, people will put your music inside the secular boat, secular category, right? Any music that doesn't glorify Christ is considered secular, right? But what we're discussing right now is intent behind what you're doing and impact and where your heart is at for when you're trying to do things.
Yeah.
If you now try to label yourself something Christian because you think it makes what you're doing safe, calling what you're doing a Christian clothing brand or a Christian this or Christian that does not make it safe. Like, that's just not how it works. So let's stop trying to use, like, Christ as, like, a basis or something to cover what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then we're weak at it because you're just sending people further away from Christ.
Facts. You preaching, dog.
My bad. You know how I be feeling about that. Like,
nah, bro.
Because the same
real.
problems you get, it's like a lot. I think it's like, all right, like, obviously I'm in the sports and entertainment industry, right? Cool. A lot of the qualms I get or conversations I have is like, people be like, hey, make sure you don't lose yourself. Like, or make sure you don't go down the same route bro went down. Like, you feel me? Like, just talking about it like this way. Like, oh, you got to keep yourself together when you go in these spaces. You got to move this way. And it's like a lot of people also question, like, me being in there because it's like, well, you can't be in this space. Like, this space is not glorifying God. I don't think God called everybody to only be in the church.
Yeah.
Because if every single person only was in a church, and mind you, I do believe everybody should attend church, find a home church, lock in. But if everybody was called to only serve and be in a church only, who's serving the rest of the world?
Exactly.
So it's like, if you don't go out into this world, if you don't make this song about this, if you don't reach this one person, it's like, who's actually going out to the masses and tapping into people? If I don't go in the industry, who's going to go in? Like, somebody has to go. Somebody has to be sent. And like I said, the best way to glorify God and bring souls to Him when you go into space is be an actual light in the spaces you go into.
Exactly.
Like, you are the light wherever you go. be a good representation of God.
Yeah.
Don't try to attach God to what you're doing and be a bad representation. Be a good representation of God.
Correct.
And that love and the way that you move and how you carry yourself is what will bring people to Christ above you trying to label yourself as this first in order to get some type of leverage or move up.
Exactly.
But that's my spill on that. I'm good on that. I don't want to sound too frustrated on it, but you know, I got a lot of thoughts on that, man, in terms of trying to brand yourself with the Christian thing to try to get advancement, you know.
We've talked about it.
Yeah.
I know. I get it, bro.
Yeah.
I get it.
So, I do want to talk about just a little bit about like community environment and breaking the mold. I know we've talked about the DMV, Peachey County, the image you have to hold, and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like you're taking the next steps to authentically be yourself today and breaking the mold of how you feel like you were either once perceived before? Because you talked about caring about what people think and the viewpoint. How do you feel like you're taking those steps to break the mold and come into a new version of yourself now?
In music, I would tend to take the approach of because I'm YungManny, I should.
I don't know what he means by because I'm YungManny.
I'm more so mean to the outside though. Just because I'm YungManny, I'm supposed to have it figured out, right? I'm supposed to have money. I'm supposed to be richer than the average person my age.
I don't know what this is. Why do people think that all amounts of success equate to everybody just balling, bro?
That's just
not real, bro.
Unfortunately, that's just how everybody thinks. So now, because I know people think this way.
I think 10,000 likes is $10,000, bro.
No bullshit, bro. And it's just like I've tried to live up to this standard that people created for me in their own heads, right? And that's a hell of a game, dog. It's a hell of a game. It's draining, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of talking about everything I have and flogging on everybody and talking about that when it's not the reality, because it's almost like I felt how it wasn't translated. And it's just like, bro, I started to talk about who I am, what I'm not, you know, what I don't have, and the fact that I don't have it all figured out, right? And what I've come to realize is everybody feels that way, brother. Everybody's trying to chase a level of financial stability.
The second you show any sign of vulnerability, you realize like, oh shoot, it's all of us.
Yeah, it's not just me.
It's like you start like I think the confusion that people have, and this also can contribute to certain forms of depression. It's like when you feel like you're the only person going through something.
Yeah.
And you convince yourself of that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important for you to speak. If you have any type of platform, it's always important to speak up or like be transparent about the struggles, because when you only talk about the wins, when you only show certain things, it makes people think that this is your standard and this is your base of life.
Yeah.
You don't know how much people you impact by just laying out or saying the simple struggles.
Exactly.
So vulnerability in music and you talking about certain things, like it changes the game for people.
Mm-hmm.
Like that may be what they needed to hear, bro.
Yeah.
That makes the music hit on that deeper level that once wasn't there before. Because this ain't about free card music. This is about like me touching your heart. Because like, bro, like we the same age, we got the same issues. Boom, like we tapped in.
And if I may speak to it, it's like where I have to be careful and where others have to be careful is because somebody can see, I guess, the good response I've been getting from this and start to think, oh, the way is just being depressed. Let's make depressed music. Let's just, And if I'm not careful, right, I could think, oh, the people like that I was vulnerable. Let me just
make myself more sad.
You get what I'm saying? And that's not the way to go.
I'm gonna become an emo kid because that's the vibe. Like,
exactly. And at the end of the day, you feel me?
Music is spiritual though. That's the component people don't talk about. Like you cultivate a certain emotion in your songs, and these songs have replay value. And like I've lived like, for me, one of my biggest indicators of music and turning music off is like if I feel my heart moving or shifting in a direction off a song, I gotta delete the song from my playlist. Like I'm not. I no longer can do it. There's songs that I really used to vibe out to. And then now it's like the more like my self-awareness or like my discernment gets up, it's like, hold on, like, nah, I know what they was feeling spiritually when they made this song. And I feel that being spread to me. Like, I don't even want to go down that path. So I want to speak to some of that self-awareness for yourself and discernment, even in terms of just like waking up one day and realizing like, yo, I need to be more clear about my issues or speak up about those things. Like, what sparked your level of self-awareness, and like where does this vulnerability now come from that you weren't willing to share before?
I think it's always been a case of knowing better and not doing better. Again, I attribute it to the household I was grown in, having God on my side. but also just trying to please humans, bro. So I feel like I've always known better, and then just God giving me the spirit of discernment. Just got to be better, bro. And I would say, especially in the lane of music, not to always just tie back to the music, I just hated the fact that my music didn't display who I really am, or I don't want to say how intellectual I am, because again, I'm not Einstein. I don't think I'm the smartest person in the world, but I hate the fact that you see YungManny on the surface level and think dumb nigga.
He's a pretty articulate guy, you know.
And again, I hate when I find myself trying to use big words or trying to sound over smart, because that's not the case. But it's just like, bro, when the hand of God is on you, bro, it's just like, stop trying to fight that shit. Bullshit.
Nah, for real, bro. Like, if you're blessed, you're blessed. Like, let's not normalize dumbing down yourself because you feel like you're supposed to look a certain way.
Yeah.
Imagine showcasing a worse version of yourself because you feel like that's the version people like. Oh, that's crazy.
Backwards.
That's crazy.
Backwards. Super backwards.
You can't live like that, man. Like, so I mean, let's talk about like, who do you think you are versus your image? Because like, you didn't cut the dreads off. You know, you got the taper now, clean shave. You know what I'm saying? You in the gym, fitness. Like, this wasn't your image before. Like, talk to me about this transition and what are you trying to build for yourself? And it's okay. It's okay to create an image. I know we try to knock people for creating aesthetics for themselves or formulating. Because the one place I do believe you can't be performative is like the way you want to look, the way you want to be perceived. Like, that's something you should build. You should care about building your brand to look a certain way or do what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, even though the whole world is going to the gym now, I'm happy that we chose fitness to be serious about. Like, hey, let's do that. That's a positive thing. Like, that's what y'all want to be performative about, by all means. You can't have performative gains. Your muscles going to get bigger, bro.
Yeah.
So talk to me about this transition, though, in image. Fashion changing, like, everything switching up. Like,
yeah, just one, I think, God. I think it all stems from clarity and just authenticity. Again, when I was stripped down, I feel like when I was going through that rough season of my life, what I thought was rough was transformative. I just felt like, man, I just want to be a man that stands on what he says, a man of discipline, a man that if he says he's going to get something done, he gets it done, you feel me? A man that you can turn your head that way and know that I'm responsible and I'm going to handle business at the end of the day. So if I speak to the gym side of it or just the physical appearance of it, you know, cutting my locks and all of that, it's just... Listen, I'm not a bad boy. I'm a good boy. It sounds stylish and it's funny, but it's just like, bruh, I know who I am, bro. I know who, and a lot of people battle this, right? It's as much as I was doing the things I was doing, I would be who I was outside, but I know who I got to be as soon as I open that front door. And that's a lot of people.
And you like that meme that's like, all right, Dad, I'm going outside to go change the community.
Facts.
And you come outside and see that.
And the reality of it is a lot of people know they got to change who they are when they get in their front door. And instead of doing that, it's just like, why is who I am when I'm inside not okay? Again, who I really am is a man of God. Who I am is a funny guy. I'm a sociable guy. I like to talk. You feel me? I like to smile rather than I like to frown. You feel me? Sometimes they'll think it's cooler rather than like they think. And
bro, this whole meme, like, bro, like, smile, bro.
You know,
and my face is naturally like that. I'm not out here trying to look angry to look hard. If that's my natural face, yo, I be trying to be positive. I want to smile. I don't want to look unapproachable.
Exactly.
You don't want to look unapproachable and be denied opportunities, bro. That stuff is not cool, bro. Trying to look like that.
And I think sometimes you'll feel like just a lot of these weird societal norms are a form of not being as masculine as you're supposed to be. Right? And at the end of the day, bro, like, because you smiled on me, you're not going to stand on business. Just, again, it's like you confuse being tough and being gangster. And it's just like, bro, you can be a lawful abiding man that handles business and takes care of your priorities at the end of the day. So just...
Nothing wrong with being honest and doing things the right way.
Exactly.
Maybe before this even started, we just had a whole conversation about doing things the right way and normalizing just being honest about doing things the right way and not forcing or lying or just spinning around finessing, right?
What's the scripture you said? Wealth through honesty.
Wealth by honesty increases, wealth by dishonesty decreases.
Yeah.
We should just normalize doing things the right way,
Yeah.
and just being upright, standing individuals.
100%.
And it's like that shouldn't even be praised. Like it should just be that is the standard.
Correct.
It's like there should be no normalization of the opposite. You feel me? Or making that be cool. We are coming up on time, so I got a couple quick hitter questions for you, right? About the album, right?
Yeah, talk to me.
First, what song did you spend the most time in production on?
I think it would have been Miss Janice Grandson, the first song.
Why?
I think it's just the transparency of it. I've never really, I guess, dove into that realm. Man. Every time I was writing, and my mind wanted to take me back to an old place where, again, I start flogging and just like I talked about, you know, how I love to say nobody makes it where I'm from. There's a lot of people that made it where I'm from, and I think battling with the fact that you know, shit, is it gonna be for me? Is it gonna work out for me? And then in the second verse, I love the second verse of that song because it talks about trusting God and human nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know, I know that I'm covered in the blood. I swear I do. But maybe I should probably keep my firearms still concealed. I said, maybe I should snoop around and see if I find something. Or maybe I should let God be God and let him reveal. You know, and maybe I should stop living this life in defense mode. And if it seems authentic until it doesn't, just play it real, you know? And I feel like
This is
just
poetry.
No, fact, but it's my real life though, bro. Because I just want to be in control of everything, and just God. It's like I'm not God, bro. And unfortunately, God just wants me to submit all of that to Him, and it's just like once I realized that, even through that song, I was battling on that.
Trust in the Lord with all your
mind and lean not on Him with your own understanding, or with your heart,
with all your heart,
and lean not on your own understanding.
Exactly.
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Oh, we thank God. They tried.
Proverbs 3:5-6, and well, that's 3:5, and 6 is acknowledge Him in all you do, and He'll make your path straight.
Facts.
Which has really been a huge theme of our conversation a lot today. Funny enough, but
yeah.
Next question, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of my personal favorites on the album is Lake Como. Now, my favorite is 8th Grade Dance. I do believe that's the best song that you've ever wrote in your life.
Respect.
That's like when you went in the studio, that when you talk about a song like relating to like the upbringing, I feel like our timelines were very similar.
You get
in terms
it.
Of
we
like,
was in 8th grade at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
We was in 8th grade at the same. We ain't gonna go to.
Literally.
We was in 8th grade at the same time though, but very, very parallel lives, man. And then we took off in our own directions and our own things around the same time as well. So it's like, I know the feeling of coming up, no motion at all, not seeing no direction, not knowing what's gonna happen. Like life low-key trash, and then boom, everything flips. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't gonna go too much into 8th Grade Dance. I want to talk about Lake Como, right? Because that's my second favorite on the album now. Because 8th Grade Dance came out before, but Lake Como, I want to talk about your level of vulnerability on that song, and then also the visualizer. Explain to us the meaning behind the visualizer when you were seen burning your dreads in the video, and you were talking about what you were talking about.
I was doing away with my old self. Old things have passed, man. Nah, I'm not about to get super past it. But yeah, just like there's a lot that I've spoken on and I haven't spoken on that went on in my period with those dreads. So just putting that me in the past for good. You feel me? All the habits of that person, the thought process of that person, and the entitlement of that person. Just instead of again flogging and probably talking about braggadociously how much money I got. To be real with you, I don't got millions yet. And I don't got it all figured out. And I'm not about to go on a whole tangent and explain every lyric like I just did. Even just down to the part where it's just like they say men supposed to speak their pain. or my brother's just gonna call me gay. And it's like a lot of things that I wanted to say here, I was a bit hesitant on saying because again, get tied into that mental warfare, man. Is they gonna think they could play with me, or is they gonna think they? And sometimes it's just like maybe you're around the wrong people if they make you feel like that. Maybe you need to find like-minded people that understand that growing is good, that vulnerability is good, and the fact that we're all trying to figure it out instead of everybody that's trying to act like.
If you cannot be your authentic self, your 100% authentic self around your close friends,
Wrong people.
wrong people.
Wrong people.
Doesn't make them bad people. Wrong people.
Mm.
If you lack vulnerability in your closest relationships, what does the rest of your life look like? Who is your like who are your people?
Who are you real to?
You feel me?
Like who are you telling the truth to?
It's crazy. Like if I can't show up as my same self to my friends when I come talk to them on the daily, what type of life am I living, bro? That's kind of crazy, bro, to not have that. And obviously everybody doesn't have the same community and all that, but I do believe that you need that. Like, and if you don't, you will struggle in this world if there's nobody you can be vulnerable with.
Yeah.
And God forbid you're upholding an image to somebody. That's what I really want to say. If you are upholding an image for your friends, they're not your friends. Because you should not feel that way around anybody who you feel like is your friend. You feel me?
Reevaluate your friend groups, man.
But another question, right? If you had to delete one of your old songs forever and pretend it never existed, what song are you deleting?
Whoa, that's strong. Okay, right. The real answer to that is my whole discography. I hate all that music.
You serious?
No, it's like
Wow.
I cringe a lot when I hear a lot of songs.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, the Ballast might be it. Bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. If you
Oh
really,
my gosh, the fact that was really a banger too, though. Like,
and that's what's wrong.
time
with
and
y'all,
placement
bro.
matters, though. You
The
feel me?
time
Like,
and placement, because it's like when people hear it, they get hype. But if you ever just sat down and listened
really
to
went
what
in the
I said,
studio and was saying
I didn't
anything,
say
bro.
nothing in that song. I said
You said
nothing,
anything.
nothing,
And that song was booming. You had a lot of confidence, bro.
But if I may answer that question with another, I love the song. I love how the song sounds and how it turned me up. I hate the fact that when I'm trying to show maybe an older person my music, I tell them, yeah, my name is YungManny, they go on Apple Music. And on top songs, no, it says Murder Man. And I'm trying to talk to like this professional, young, educated black man. So okay, yeah, I'd love to check out your music. What's your YungManny? Cool. Top song, Murder Man. Yeah, it's not the greatest look, brother. I'll be honest with you.
Why don't you delete?
God forbid.
Still get paid.
Well, not God forbid.
And royalties still coming in, right?
Facts.
Okay, so what would you say is the worst advice somebody in the music industry ever gave you?
The worst advice? I don't want to take too much time thinking about it, but I also want to answer it truthfully. Do drugs.
Somebody told you to do drugs?
Yeah.
You want to say who?
No, absolutely. But
Somebody in the industry told you to do. What was their reasoning?
I want to say they told, but they just influenced. But I think a lot of, if I may answer that too, like with another answer, a lot of times, what I struggled with, it's not even something.
Man, you do drugs, you'll make better music.
That too.
That's crazy. That's an outrageous thing. I blame you more than whoever told you that.
Absolutely. But then another thing would be, this is not even somebody told me, but this has been on my mind. You know the way Nigerian parents teach you that elders are always right? Mm-hmm. When I got signed and I'm with these people that are in charge of certain things within my deal or within my situation, it kind of set me back a bit because there would be times I genuinely didn't want to do something, right? And I didn't know why I couldn't fight against it. I would tell you how much I hate it. I'll tell my boy Leak how much I hate it. I'll complain about it. But when it comes to that figure of authority, I just didn't have the testosterone to say something about it. And not till now that I realize it's because maybe our upbringing teaches you not to challenge adults.
Yeah, to show deference. You know, somebody's older than you, they have the answer.
And I feel like there's a difference between disrespect and having a difference in opinion. You know, so there was just a lot of things, a lot of money that was taken out of my situation unlawfully and sneakily by older adults. A lot of money, like hundreds of thousands. You feel me? A lot of decisions, a lot of songs I didn't want to make, a lot of videos that I ended up shooting that I didn't want to shoot. A lot of just weird things. Sometimes you feel me signing things you don't want to sign. At the
You were
end.
16, bro.
Yeah, that's why I'm grateful to God that He allowed me to enter this so early. Because people always tell me, it's like, bro, you got so many more
do
music
this 10 times
lifetimes.
over.
Exactly. You know how many more deals you can sign? That's what I always hear. And again, I was telling somebody this earlier today, not to rap, but it's one thing to have never had, right? It's one thing to have had and never faced adversity, like kids who just grow up in $1 million homes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's this beauty in having something and have lost, like losing it, bro.
Rock bottom, bro. 100 to 0, back up.
Bro, it's
You
a
look at life
different type
different,
of
bro.
dog, bro. It's a different. So I'm just grateful to God
So-
to answer that.
Last question for you,
Yeah.
right? So we know who YungManny is from a music perspective. We've talked about your life, your evolution. Obviously, you have a lot more interest in just music as well. Like you're a holistic person. You're not a dumb artist. This is not a shut up and dribble type situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you trying to build for yourself away from just recording music in terms of like career, life, all those things?
I was having this conversation with somebody very dear to me today, and I feel like all the people who I could say are inspirations to me, what they've said about music is that to make real music of substance, bro, you gotta live life and come back to it. And when your life revolves around anything, you're giving that thing power, right? Too much power that it doesn't need to have. And the reality of it is I'm bigger than music. I'm bigger. I'm more important than music. There's more to me than music, right? So like I start my morning at 4 a.m. every morning going to the gym. You know, make sure my health is intact. The bakery, my father's bakery business, Divine Agege bread. You feel me? Just learning the ins and outs of that because that's something he's been very passionate about, and that's something I've been around my whole life. Whether it's just different hobbies, just like reading more now. It's a different fulfillment I get from reading. You feel me? I'm in school right now, 5 days a week.
Full-time student at a HBCU, dropping an album, still traveling around doing shows, full-time student.
5 days a week.
That's hard. He just dropped the whole entire album.
Exactly.
And this guy has above a 3.0 GPA.
Exactly. So it's I guess it ties back into that conversation about like just letting God's will be done. Whatever way it is, as much as it may be hard, I submit it to God, honestly. So I know it'll all be all right at the end of the day. Yeah.
Stuff, man.
My dog. Love, brother, always.
Love, bro.
Thank you. Oh, C-Core. How long do we run?
I think that was an hour on the dot.
For real?
Yeah.